they may not know your story, but you know, your story has inspired millions of people, but in your heart, you truly believe that your job is to not forget those that you are assigned to. How do you do that? How do you keep that fire in this divisive time?
Well, even though I've got brothers and sisters who are still locked up, I'm still one of them. I'm just free one of them. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I'm sure there are many in this audience who have had that jail cell door slammed behind them or that prison door slammed shut. But I don't know if there's very many in this audience who've had that door shut and told that that door will never open for you again. Because I was told that the only way that I would ever be reunited with my family would be as a dead woman. That they'd be picking up my body in a body bag. They'd be looking at me in a funeral home, but I would never rejoin them as a free living woman again. This is what my children were told, my parents, my siblings were told, that they were never going to see me except on visitation day in prison. So I've been in one of the darkest places where there should not be any hope. But I made the decision that I was going to forgive. I was initially, after my arrest, offered 3 to 5 years for my role in a nonviolent drug offense. I was essentially an operator. I'm going to say I connect one phone call, but I never sold drugs. I didn't even know what they were connecting. I connected numbers. And when everything fell apart, the very people who brought me into this thing, who had gotten caught themselves, said I was their boss because I had the phone records. And under conspiracy, whatever one person does, you're held accountable for everything that happens in that. So I went from being offered a 3 to 5 year sentence to exercising my constitutional right to go to trial, and I received the trial penalty, which turned into a life plus 25-year sentence. But when I hit that prison, when I fell on my knees, I was at my lowest point. I truly asked the Lord, if you can use me, use me. And instead of focusing on myself, I started seeing women who had shorter sentences, but they were in more bondage than I was in. They were gnarled up with bitterness because somebody done them wrong. So they were singing "Somebody Done Me Wrong" song. And literally, they had internalized so much bitterness. I saw disease manifested because they couldn't let go of the hate. And the person who was causing them this pain was not even thinking about them. So you walk around, it's like they're saying, you drink poison and hope the other person dies. And that's what was happening to them. So I started doing things as the Lord started changing me. And I realized that I had to forgive those who had wronged me. And it wasn't easy. Forgiveness is not an easy thing. It's a choice. It's not a memory relapse, it's a memory release. And when I released that, and I literally had to pray for them and ask the Lord to help me because it wasn't easy. And even today, sometimes just a memory would trigger that pain and it'll try to overtake me, but I don't let it do that to me because I know to let it overtake me gives someone else control of my life. So instead of getting busy with the business of dying in prison, I got busy with the business of living and making a difference wherever I was. And in female prisons, we don't have gangs, we have families because we're nurturers. And many would call me Mama Alice, a grandmama, a sister, a auntie. I became many names to many people, but the thing that held us together was that we had the commonality and we were all separated from our families. Many were in pain. I had to sit with the women as they got the bad news that maybe a child had been killed or a parent had died. And I'd have to be that mother to be there to comfort them. And when you have sat among people that you call your family, there's no way that I could just walk out and forget about them. The day that I left prison, it literally sounded like an earthquake. When they called my name over that intercom to report to R&D, receiving and discharge, it was the loudest sound. Women were in every window, 1,600, because they put them on lockdown because so much media was involved, beating on the bars, screaming my name, pleading, throwing kisses, saying, Miss Alice, please don't forget about us. Don't forget about us. We love you. When I had to pass the camp, which was a low security facility, because my family couldn't come on the premises, I saw the same scene. Over 250 women in every guard. They were out there crying and saying goodbye and saying, I love you, because the Lord had used my life to impact the lives of others. We had a bond that was just as tight as a blood bond. And when I ran across that road, I kept running. But I wasn't running for freedom, I was running for people. Mm-hmm. I didn't care where I had to go. I didn't care where I had to speak. I didn't care where my journey took me. When I said that I'm not going to forget about you, I didn't. And you'll see me all over the place, speaking, talking. Wherever I'm invited, I use my voice to elevate their voices. I use my face so that you won't forget the faces of the ones that you possibly may never see. And that is what my mission is.